Good evening, everyone. This is the course Global Implications of Socialism with Chinese Characteristics for the New Era. This is our second session. And I would like to thank, in particular, our interpreter team, Alonso Coronado and Ipo Chao, for their support in facilitating this event to take place. I would also like to thank the Union of Latin American and Caribbean Universities, UDALC, as well as Renmin University of China and National Autonomous University of Mexico, UNAM. Last Monday, August 11th, we had an important opening ceremony, and then we had a first lecture delivered by Professor Qin Xuan, which was titled The Implications of Xi Jinping's Thought for Socialism with Chinese Characteristics in a New Era. All of the sessions are being recorded and they will be readily available in the website, in the official Latin American and Caribbean China network website. And you will be able to access both the original audio and the interpreting tracks into English and Spanish. Today, we have the participation of Professor Wang Yiwei, who is an outstanding academic. He is a Jean Monnet Chair Professor and Vice President of the Academy of Xi Jinping Thought from Renmin University of China. He is also an expert advisor to the CCPIT Advisory Committee, and he is a council member of the China Center for International Economic Exchanges, as well as the Chinese People's Institute of Foreign Affairs. He has had a vast diplomatic trajectory. He's published dozens of articles and books. He participated as a representative of the People's Republic of China in the European Union, and he's been a guest professor in several universities, including Yale University. His many books include important works regarding the Belt and Road Initiative, which has been translated into over 20 languages and received multiple awards. So, without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Professor Wang Yiwei.
Professor Wang Yiwei, I made simply a brief presentation of yourself, and so the floor is yours. So we have around 90 minutes. It can be briefer, please not longer, and we will share the screen and you will let us know when you need the next slide, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Joseph and dear colleagues. It's a very pleasure and honor for me to present my understanding of the Chinese modernization. We used to call the socialism with Chinese characteristics. That's particularly refer to we are different with Soviet Union. But still ideology saying about that. China impact also United States. Recently in the Wall Street Journal, there's an article said U.S. is a capitalism with U.S. characteristics. So maybe they learn from Chinese saying about that. Okay, but today we used to call Chinese dream the great regeneration of the Chinese nation. But the different understanding of that, some Chinese neighborhoods worry about maybe come back to the tributary system. So that's reason now we don't call Chinese characteristics or Chinese dream or Chinese regeneration for the Chinese nation. But now we are using more, I think, integrated narrative saying about the Chinese modernization. But my title is from Chinese modernization to global modernization for all. So in the West, globalization, not least true globalization, is partial. Modernization is for the rich, not for everybody. So now we think about we can pursue a new type of modernization. So that's basically my title. I have two, of course, also titles. One is a Yomane Chair Professor. That's founder of the European Union. Yomane is a Western civilization, but also the Vice President of the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics. So my title put Yomane, Xi Jinping, synergy with the Western and the Eastern civilizations to make the synergy. So maybe that's my mission. Second page, please. This is a very famous photo in China. She got the Olympic Games prize, in the tennis. And then after that, she promote some fashionry. And then one day when I go in a store, I found somebody that bought the fashionry she dressed. I asked her, the lady got the Olympic Games gold is because she dressed like that fashion? She answered, of course, no. Okay, this story told me that the Great Britain first industrialized, and then Great Britain promote it's a democracy, market economy, blah, blah, blah. So is that the real reason for industrialization? It's like the lady who got the Olympic Games gold is because she promoted the fashion. When you dress the same fashion that the lady, I don't think we can get the Olympic Games gold. Huh? So now people just learn from the West about the democracy, about the market economy, and the human rights, etc., but not industrialized, not modernized. Why? So that's the beginning. The next, please. When China understand this, we say we are a poor country. 45 years ago, China's per capita GDP was 1/3 of South Sahara African countries' average. That means before the opening reform, China was one of the poorest countries in the world. Not just mention about the People's Republic of China was just founded. China's average age only 35 years old. Today is nearly 80 years old of Chinese average. Why China developed so rapidly? Modernization. Because we understand we cannot follow the Western paradigm. So we should centralize our power. But the Western scholar claim this is called so-called the road to serfdom. If you centralize your power, you are more powerful government, and then the Western identify you a dictator or, their democracy. So why they always say, do as I say, not do as I do. If you also follow the trap of the West, industrialization, modernization, by launching the war, colonizing the world, expansion, and then of course they will blame you. So of course we cannot do that. Okay, so that's the reason. Next page. In today's world, there are 8 billion people. Only 37 OECD countries. In Latin America, Mexico, Brazil, they're all OECD countries. So we think about this is maybe the symbol of modernization. The OECD asked China to join. China denied because per capita GDP, China we think is still a developing country. Okay, so the hundreds of years of the modernization. So far, we have more than 200 countries, right? Only 37 countries join OECD, which is 1.4 billion people. China is 1.4 billion. India, 1.4 billion. Africa now also 1.4 billion people. So this is for 1.4 billion. And then besides that, 2.4 billion. So in total, 8 billion. So only 1.4 billion people modernized. So can China and India also modernize, follow that? Be 3 times of that? Impossible. Why? The thing about next page, there is the gap, so-called the Global South, Global North. When the former chancellor of Western Germany in 1970s put forward the blending line. So the rich from the north, poor from the south. That's even today, the gap. So that's the reason we say global south rising. It's a global, we say silence majority. Now it's so why this happened? Next page, please. Because most of them need the help industrialized and modernized. They just follow the West. China actually learn from the West, but not westernized. So we still eat chopstick. We still maybe we dress the Western suit, but our culture still Chinese. So that's broken. I think the so-called the Western myth. Chinese modernization not mean westernization. Next page, please. So it's a power shift. What China broke was that way. 2010, the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, visited Australia, interviewed by Australia National TV. The journalist from Australia TV raised the question to him, how do you think about the Chinese dream? Chinese want to dream to have a better life. And he answered, if over 1 billion Chinese citizens have the same living patterns as Australians and Americans do right now, then all of us are in for a very miserable time. The planet just can't sustain it. So that means actually so-called engagement policy put China into a WTO and globalization, not just to get China as rich as Americans. Never. This is miserable, he said. The planet is unsustainable. For instance, the US used to consume 1/5 to 1/4 of the pure oil in the world. Chinese population 4 times of the US. So if China's as a dream, the American dream, and then it's unthinkable. So he said that. So next. So and then raise the question. Next page, please. If China do the same as Americans, as President Obama said, it's unthinkable. But if China not do the same, we have pursued a better modernization. And then this is a challenge to the Americans' so-called soft power. So put China as alternative is not a universal values, even go beyond that. So that's basically like the Americans saying, damn if you do, damn if you don't. So either collapse of the China or threat of China. So that's the so-called the China paradox or dilemma. So next page, which we say summarize as the Chinese modernization. This is to make the comparison between Chinese modernization and the Western modernization. So whose modernization, for whom, by whom, and why, and how? So there's 5 basic differences. I just put one emphasize as the we say parallel The Western civilization modernization is linear evolution. For instance, if you're telecom, they put you 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, step by step, as but you always live in the shadow of the West. When you have 5G, US maybe have 6G, 7G, or even 8G. Now the Starline, right? Elon Musk. So if you just follow them, you always live in the shadow of the West. China, we think about it, we need to do both parallel. For instance, like the car, China also traditional engine innovation. We learn from Germany, from Japan, but we can never catch up with them because the hundreds of years. And then China think about why not alternative choice, electronic vehicle. So China do both traditional vehicle and electronic vehicle. And then 70% of the world electronic vehicles produced by China. So this we say was a parallel development of the modernization. This is very crucial for China because China is an independent country. China is not allies of the United States. We need to by ourselves. And China is big enough, independent enough. If in the world, there are two approaches, whether new energy or AI innovation or any technology, China do both by themselves. US maybe do one, and after Japan or NATO to do another, or jointly. But China cannot beat that way. So we do both. Whatever which approach succeed, China always succeed. So that's reason Chinese modernization, we are big enough, we are independent enough. We cannot rely on the US. And the US push China to have their own technology innovation, like Huawei, the sanctions to. So that's very important of the understanding of the Chinese modernization. We say the frog leap forward effect, just in the past decades. So next page. So the secret of the Chinese modernization is I use this as a trinity of the country, nation, and the state. 1944, during the World War II, there is a drama, the US TV drama about China. The first sentence said, China was a country, but not yet a nation. Actually, after the victory of the anti-Japanese aggression, after the revolution, built to the People's Republic of China, so we achieved the trinity of the country, nation, and state. This is about China. So this is very crucial. Even today's US, they're not trinity of the nation, country, or state. Difficult. Like they have the union address. Every February, the president address to the Congress, they call union address. The US is a country, but sometimes the state, the United States is one not unified state. European Union now suffered the Ukraine war, the economic territory, cultural territory, political territory. They are not synergid. They are separate. So that's the reason. Where is the frontier of the Europe? Is it Ukraine or not? But China, as a united country for 3,000 years. So we, after the revolution, Chairman Mao rebuilt China. So we call this is whether country, nation, or state of the trinity as a people. So our party don't have our party interests. Our party serves for the people. So Renmin University, we say people's university. It's my university. So we say everything is on the people. People's Liberation Army, People's Bank, People's teacher, People's police, everything. So that's we say Chinese modernization. What's the meaning of the Chinese? So in this regard, the next page, we say Chinese competition with the US in providing public goods for the world. The US is more US as a core, others as a periphery. It's like this alliance system, US Five Eyes alliance, and then NATO. then Japan, South Korea, or Philippines or other. So it's around, it's a so-called hub-spoken system. Everybody suits around the US, and the US own this world. They can launch sanctions to anybody because the American is exceptionalism. Americans will say chosen people. So that's make the Mexico, even like President Trump, first term of the NAFTA 2.0, right? It's a free trade, but still launch the trade war against Mexico and Canada, because the thing about you are the satellite state of the United States, actually. In this, the thing about that. So this is injustice, unsustainable. China, we say we prefer modernization on the base of the own national condition. We are equal, whether big or small. So always China built the diplomatic ties on the principles of the five peaceful coexistence principles. Treat each other as equal, as others as the own, as a home, I would say, home state, home country, not as the servers or participant country. So that's basically the different approaches of the public goods. Next page, please. What behind this is a different mentality, philosophy, and culture. U.S. We said, God bless America. It's in a U.S. dollar. It's a one God. China is three gods, we say: Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. So British historian Arnold Toynbee predicted it in the 1980s. Maybe in the future, to solve our problems in the world, we trace back to the traditional Eastern civilizations, Chinese. So he predicted. Next, because the Chinese philosopher prefers harmony between and among different civilizations, different gods, or capitalism, socialism, whatever reason. It's not either or. It's not a dictator or democracy, or it's a tectonic zero-sum game. No, China never have the religions war in the history. So that's basically the next page is, I think the Chinese modernization prefers other countries' modernizations jointly. So this is a very famous painting in China. It's a He Chun sense. With the, if you see, Chinese national flags, the big star is a Communist Party. Other four stars around is a working class, peasants, Liberation Army, and intellectual. They are not checks and balance of the Communist Party. They are under the leadership of the Communist Party, but live in a very harmonious way. So that's the way traditional Chinese culture. Okay, next page. The first, we say the first god, the traditional Chinese philosopher is Buddhism. Buddhism more focused on the relationship between you and others. And then Taoism. Taoism is more focused on man and the nature. And then Buddhism. Buddhism is you and yourself. Taoism, you and the nature. And Confucianism, you and others. So these three gods, peaceful coexistence in a traditional Chinese culture. They treat back yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You and yourself, you and others, we and the nature. So that's based. The first next page, please. Is Confucian's very famous saying that we are the great Tao. Is we said needed great harmony. The whole world is like a one family. We should treat other sinners as our sinners, other parents as our parents, other children as our children. Love them. So that's universal love. That's Confucius said. Next. Next is Taoism, prefers harmony, yin and yang. So this is a famous logo of the Taiji. It's not black or white, but black in white, white in black. You see, this is two fish. The black fish with the white eye, the white fish with the black eye. So white in black, black in white. And then this twin turn rounding of the world, universe. So that's very famous. Tai Chi, when people playing that. And okay, it's yin and yang, not against each other, but harmony. Okay, it's not either or. It's different. That totally different with the US mentality. It's like George W. Bush said, either on my side or on the terrorist side after September 11th, right? Or Biden said, either democracy or dictator. Actually, they are converted each other. Next. And then Buddhism. Buddhism we learn from ancient India, but now it's Chinese-channelized. These are 4 animals. Elephant support the monk. Monk supported rabbit. Rabbit supported the bird. Because the elephant cannot eat the seed from the high tree. So they help each other. So this is ecology, mutualism. So with the traditional, with also harmony. So Buddhism focuses more on you and yourself's relations, not too much designed to conquer the world. Okay, so it's a channelized, that like Zen. Next page. So it's my mother is a Buddhist, so I used to visit the temple very frequently. So the impact of the traditional Chinese culture, 3 gods in China. So next page. There's a very famous painting in the Song Dynasty 1,000 years ago. There are 3 gods: Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism. They talk to each other, learn from each other. So that's difficult to find in any church in the West, right? Either or. Where, if, for instance, I visited Istanbul, whether the Muslim or Catholic, they cannot coexist, right? So in China, the temple usually have different gods. You can pray, in harmony way. So no problem. Okay, next page. If you visit the Shaolin Temple, the right, this logo looks like a Buddha. Also looks like a Confucius. Also looks like a Lao Tzu. So whatever you believe, you can find your God. It's very interesting. So in today's world, there are 8 major religions. How can go beyond any religion that claim they are universal? So how can go beyond that and then to reach the real true universal values? We say the common values of humanity. That's President Xi Jinping put forward. Otherwise, you against me, I against you, and then like Ukraine. Actually, Russia is Orthodox. The West is Catholic or Protestant, but they're saying God. Even Jewish in Gaza, Muslim, Jewish, and the Christianity, they're actually the same God. It's Abraham, but they're fighting each other. How can go beyond that to reach the consensus? So that's basically the Chinese philosopher. Next page, please. So that's the hope of the future of our world. So I think China not Soviet Union. We are not seeking the Cold War with the United States. We are more yin and yang harmony with the West, with the US including. So that's basically the history is not a repeat in tragic way, but go in more, I think, wishful, optimist way. So next page, please. In 1974, when Deng Xiaoping delivered a speech in the Great Assembly of the UN on behalf of the Chairman Mao, he said, 1974, if China in the future also seek hegemony, and the Chinese people and the world people will work together jointly to overthrow this hegemony. It's very interesting. So many people think about China will be like replace US as a new hegemony. But even China was poor, China against. In a Chinese concept, hegemony, this is very negative, superpower, negative concept. We're very against that. We suffered that. Like Confucius said, if you suffered, you can never let other people suffer. So that's basically in in the Yi Jing, the traditional classic of Chinese cultural saying about 群龙无首. So with the different dragons, they are peaceful coexistence without one take a leading role. This is different with the U.S. U.S. always claim under American leadership, so China said, no. Under our leadership, jointly leadership, not one leadership. Okay, so that's basically the different philosophy. Next page, please. So what I'm saying is President Xi Jinping put forward the Chinese modernization, pursue the common modernizations for the whole world. If you are not rich, I'm not too rich. If you are hungry, I'm feel hungry also. So like Confucius said, so we prefer the common modernizations for the whole world. So that's basically what I'm saying at the very beginning. So on the basis of the Chinese modernization, we launched the BRI, the Belt Road Initiative, and then to reach the, build the community of the shared future. Okay, so that's basically our open remarks. Next page, please. Then we should hurry up to answer 3 basic questions. Who are we? Where are you from? Where are you going? Next, please. This is very famous painting 3 basic questions. So next page. So where are you? Who are you? Where are you going? So Chinese modernization. Who are you? Where are you going? Where are you from? So these 3 basic questions I try to answer. First, who are you? Next, Chinese modernization or Chinese path to modernization. There are 2 sayings about that. If you read the Chinese narrative. Next page. So what's a Chinese path to modernization means? China is like a General de Gaulle said, China is older than history. When 221 BC, first emperor of China united China. So before 221 years before the Jesus Christ is born. So China is very old, 5,000 years civilization. Second, China used to be very poor, as I mentioned, one of the poorest country in the world. And China is so populist, always be the populist country in the world. Thirdly, China is not a single god, 3 gods. So these 3 characteristics, can this China be modernized? There raised the questions. Even Chinese also question about that. But now on every standard, China modernized according to World Bank. So we need to have a different approach to modernization. So that's the reason we say China's path to modernization. But when you modernized, you're thinking common modernizations. So this is a better modernizations for the world. So this is called Chinese modernization. So 2 meanings. So next page, please. As I mentioned, there are different identities for China. Traditional China, Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism. So as a Buddhism, focus on the you and yourself. So we focus on the relationship of modernization of the material, spirit, harmony. And you and others, we need all modernizations for all people. And you and the nature, Laozi, Taoism, focus on the modernizations of the environment friendly. And this is 3 traditional Chinese identities. But China is the largest populous developing country. So that's the first Chinese modernization is 1.4 billion modernization. And China is also a socialist country. We seek the peaceful rights, peaceful development, and social justice in the world. So that's peace. To achieve the modernization in a peaceful way, which is different with the West in modern times. So that's 4 identities. China as a socialist country, China as a largest developing country, China as a traditional Asian civilization, as 3 identities. So 5 pillars for the Chinese modernizations. So I explained to you the meaning of the Chinese modernization. Next page. What's the Chinese dream of the modern country for 100 years? Even for my generation, We dream if you live upstairs and downstairs, we can phone call. That's our dream. And when I was a student at the University of Fudan, Shanghai, 25 years ago, I even dared to talk to my female classmate. The only reason I talked to them is ask for food coupon, because we always hungry. So 1996, China banned the food coupon. Before, China always hungry. And in 2006, China banned of the agricultural tax. So before, the Chinese farmers should pay the tax for the government. But the Western is observed, it's totally opposite. The government pay the tax for the farmers, right? So Chinese people always we poor, hungry, and humble to sacrifice themselves for industrialization. So that's reason we are different approach with the West. Next. But the key reason is not just a sacrifice. The key reason is not to repeat others, not just follow the trap, either Soviet Union or United States. But we learn both from them. After the Korean War, China lost 500,000 soldiers. So 19 countries in the name of the United Nations under the American leadership, China fight against and then win this war, the Korean War. And then Soviet Union support China 156 major projects, help Chinese modernization a lot. But in 1956, Chairman Mao understood the Soviet Union model, their problems. And then they published a very famous article on the 10 major relationship between, for instance, the relationship between agriculture and industry, urban, suburban, or etc. So that means that we think about the China need to take our own approach. We learn from the Soviet Union, but it cannot be Soviet Unionized. So that's the reason Soviet Union collapsed 1992. Communist Party is still in a very powerful position in China. So we have bye-bye farewell to the Soviet Union model since 1956. Even 1970, 1969, we had the war with the Soviet Union in the north of Zhenbao border conflict with Soviet Union. And China won this war. And the Soviet Union want to use nuclear weapons to destroy the 20 to 30 cities of China, including Beijing, Shanghai, the big cities. And then President Nixon, the decided to want to visit China, got this intelligence, and the matter is published in the Washington Times, small newspaper, and the Xinhua News Agency got this message, and the Chairman Mao made the 3 major decisions. Number 1, they warned Soviet Union, if you use nuclear weapons to us, we will order millions of Chinese soldiers to pour into your territory to rebuild China, which used to be China territory. Russia, in a part in modern history, occupied nearly 1.5 million kilometers territory from Qing dynasty. Second, they also sent the message to President Nixon. We have nuclear weapons also. If the Soviet Union use nuclear weapons to trace us, but our nuclear weapons cannot reach Moscow, but we can reach your military bases in South Korea and Japan. And President Nixon very embarrassed. I tell you this intelligence, but you want to use nuclear weapons to us. And Chairman Mao smiled, because the nuclear weapons is paper tiger. And then President Nixon picked up the hotline phone to Khrushchev, warning, do not use nuclear weapons to China. Otherwise, China will use nuclear weapons to us, military bases in Japan and South Korea. So Chairman Mao very smart to use the US to deter Soviet Union not to do that. The story I just mentioned about. And also built many tunnel and separate of the Chinese industry facilities and plants. Okay, so that's we talk about the China and the Soviet Union relationship. So we learn from them, but not copy them. And after the opinion reform, United States helped China. We learn from United States, but not just copy the US. So we learn 2 superpowers modernization. Now we have the synergies with the superpowers, modernizations. So that within. Okay, so where are you from? Next page, please. Where the Chinese modernization comes from is from our own hard work. And also foreign aid is important, but basically our independent hard work. Next page. So on the base of the people, because we said the People's Republic, so our modernization is on the hard work of the Chinese people. The Chinese people work very hard. Everybody understand. So in the West, maybe in the Latin Americans, working is for enjoy life, but in China, enjoy the life is for better work. So it's different. China found the excuse to work, and then French, Western people find the excuse to vacances, to holiday, for holiday. So the Chinese farmers sacrifice a lot. The cotton or grain, all of the agricultural products. Okay, can you help me?
Yes, perfectly. Yes.
Okay.
But
So
we
Chinese
cannot
farmers
see
work very hard and sells the products, agricultural products, very cheap price to the government. And the government use this money to build infrastructure for military and industrial, heavy industry. So that's in the China Mao period. So that's reason, even when I was student, I was hungry. So Chinese people always live in a very difficult time. So this we say the price census. So agricultural village farmers sacrifice for the industry, for the factories, for the workers. So why? Because the Communist Party is strong leadership. Because Chinese peoples, we say, sacrifice. When
Un momento. No, we cannot hear you. You have to turn on the audio.
okay, now it's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me emphasize, the Western always prefers human rights, human rights, human rights, human rights. Yes, but China prefers long-term, whole Chinese nation's human rights, not individual rights. So Chinese farmers, Chinese people sacrifice their human rights for the national rights, for the national modernization, for the long-term benefits of the whole nation, whole people. Collectivism. Again, as I said, and in the very beginning, right? When you industrialize, modernize, you promote your culture to others. But if you learn from their cultures, actually you cannot modernize. It's like the Olympic Games winner, golden winner, right? She dressed like a fashionably, but she got the gold. It's not because she dressed like that. So everybody learn from the British culture and the checks and balance, multi-party system, free elections, human rights, market economy, but not industrialized, modernized. So China understand this. So we have centralized our power, sacrifice our human rights for the long-term nation's right, national rights, sovereignty. So that's reason we say understanding Chinese modernization. This is crucial, very crucial. Okay, next page. 已经通了吗？对。OK， 太好了。So I turn. Because I use the cell phone, so it's some problem. Now I turn you the laptop.
Thank you very much.
I hope it's more stable.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
We see you
Okay,
perfect.
please, next page, please. Okay, so Chinese modernization, we said we learn from the West, but not copy the West. we should adapt to our national condition. So we should, the Western academics always prefers market economy, make the market plays decisive role. Yes, but your poor country market not to work. You should build the market. You should build the preconditions, let the market work. For instance, education. For instance, law. For instance, infrastructure. For instance, all hard works. So that's during the Chairman Mao's period, we sacrificed to build. And then Deng Xiaoping's opening reform, market economy, that works. Many other countries, when I visit Africa, for instance, they just copy the European or Western model, like Liberia. It's like American state, right? Everything like Americans, but they are so poor. So that's basically, they didn't tell you the secret. The textbooks on the economy or Nobel Prize in economics always to tell the story. It's just the result, not the process, not the precondition, not the true secret. If you just learn from that, you make a mess. So that's basically. Of course, the Chinese modernization, we learn from the West. We have the similarities with the West, according to the World Bank, like the education, like the aging, like the medical, like the intellectual, digital, everything. That's no problem. Next. So the key differences between Chinese modernization with the West is we need to have our own approach. We need to adapt our traditional Chinese culture, not just give up your traditional culture to westernized. So I make a reference, Turkey. 102 years ago, the founder of modern Turkey, Kemal, they have a circular of the Turkey. Even Turkey applied to join European Union for 4 decades, but can never be accepted because Turkey think about, modernization means westernization. So we give up our tradition of the Muslim circular, but still cannot be accepted. When Turkey went back to the Muslim world in the Middle East, they cannot be accepted because it's too secular. So now who is Turkey? And President Erdogan said, we are the Ottoman Turkey. Okay, everybody are very nervous about that, including China, like empire. So that's the reason today, Turkey lost identity. So modernization, not at the cost of westernization, lost your tradition. Should build on your tradition. But how your tradition be modernized? When I give lectures to Saudi Arabians, they're very interested about that. We need modernized, but at the same time protect the tradition. So how to balance of that kind of relationship? So we should transfer the tradition culture to adapt to the new reality, like a digital world, like a green technology. So China, we are very modernized, digitalized, we are low carbon, but still Chinese people. Okay, so that's basically the secret. So when we said modernization, not against the tradition, not the westernization. So that's basically. But how to balance this kind of the relationship? Next page. Next, please. When we think about we can succeed, why not others? If we everybody transfer the traditions to adapt to the new reality conditions and get it modernized, and then this is real diversity. When the Westerns think about the diversity, is under their leadership. They are not diversified. You diversified. So now they also suffered of the so-called diverse culture, multi-ethnic societies also failed. There's so many Muslims in Europe. Even the United States also worried about that. Like Samuel Huntington said, who are we? The white people, Anglo-Saxon, will be minority in the future in the U.S. So that's the reason President Trump built the wall in Mexico against the migrants to keep the orthodox of the traditional Chinese Americans culture. But this is against. We need harmony, peaceful coexistence, not against it to build the wall. So that's basically, we said the Chinese modernization prefers. Next, please. So the key to understanding of how to balance, how to reach the globalization, modernization, is the secret is Communist Party's strong leadership. Because the Communist Party leadership, so we make sure the capital is for the people, whole people, not for the rich people. For instance, I just come back from Tibet. Less people there because it's a very high mountain. But the highway, even now high-speed railway reached last time reached the big city. Can you imagine? Not so many people, but very modern infrastructure to make sure if this there are 3 people there live in a village very far away high mountain, but still have electricity. Okay, of course this is for national security because it's the border with India, with other. But at the same time, we said no one left behind of the modernization. So in China, every village, every farmers, every Chinese people can access to the 5G and electricity. But can you visit the US? Can access the 5G far away from Chicago, 100 miles away? They don't have a signal even. Understand? In China, everywhere, no people even there. There's still 5G, there's still strong signal of 5. So this is because we said it's a strong Communist Party leadership. So 19 provinces help the Tibet to modernize. The officials there, and also the Tibetan people can 200 less than with the traditional, if it's 700 to access to the Renmin University of China, for instance. Okay, so this is a collective leadership. And most importantly, for the Communist Party leadership, we have the revolution made the land owned by the people, by the country. All the land resources, like a rare earth, like a gold, corn, everything belongs to the government. So that's the reason China built the 70% of the high-speed railway in the world. US, 0. Why? Because the US land private. You cannot build the high-speed railway. The congressmen will build their station in their hometown and the lobby, and then the airplanes, the lobby you not to do that. So the 0. US definitely need high-speed railway, right? In California. But private capital driven, that cannot, everything, lobby. So Communist Party leadership makes sure the capital for the whole people, technology for the whole people, and then even the god, different gods, under the leadership of Communist Party. In China, it's difficult. Visit any temple, mosque. They of course have freedom of the religion, but have the national flag. You are the citizen first, then you believe your God. But the first identity is citizen. Okay, so that's the reason we didn't build the diplomatic ties with the Vatican, because the Pope needs Chinese Catholics to under their leadership. Chinese, no, we are independent. Okay, Communist Party leadership. I summarize. Next page. The 4th sentence. In China, the Communist Party built the People's Republic. It's different with the like Africa. After the independent, they have the different parties, and the parties checks and balance, and then divide it and rule. China, this Communist Party found of the People's Republic. So Communist Party Secretary General like Xi Jinping, they are very powerful. It's a symbol of the nation, not just a symbol of the Communist Party. So his thought, Xi Jinping's thought on the socialism with Chinese characteristics, is not just his personal thought. It's 100 million Communist Party members, collective wisdom. It's also 1.4 billion Chinese collective wisdom, including myself. We can contribute of the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with the Chinese characteristics. For instance, I published 10 books on the BRI
and 3 books on the Committee of the Shared Future. Many of my saying was, endorsed or rewrite by President Xi Jinping, and in his thought now. So everybody can contribute to that. So it's totally different with Trump or Biden or any, this Western leadership. Different, okay? So the Communist Party founded the nation, and the nation created the market. Second, this is different with the West. The West, like as I mentioned to you, they don't build infrastructure, high-speed railway, because it costs so much. They don't make the profits. China, Communist Party, we have a very strong state-owned enterprises. So in China, government is not just serves for the market. The government also produce the market. For instance, Beijing to Tianjin, 150 miles away, built the high-speed railway and then created the market. Because the 2 cities connected with the high-speed railways, so real estate, tourists, all other planets, so booming with the synergies of the strategies, synergies of the industries. So government produce the market, not just serves the market. Again, this is different with the West. And then market produced or created a new society. Traditional China is a very agricultural civilization. Our guanxi relationship. But now because of the social market economy, so now market principles, so the rule of law, also popular in China. And then a new civilization born. So this is very crucial to understand of why so many countries joined the BRI, because they cannot follow the Western's market principles, actually. We built the preconditions, let the market works, not against the Western principles, actually. Okay? Next, please. So in this regard, I think the Chinese modernization, actually, is we learn from the West, but at the same time, we practice in China. And then was pressed by the West, which we need to have our own independent approach. Okay, next. So while the the Chinese modernization will contribute with a global community of the shared future. What's that meaning? Next. In the West, there's a so-called Pareto optimistic. But in China, we say it's not Pareto, it's like Confucius. Like Confucius said, a man wishes to establish himself, seeks also to establish others. A man wishes to achieve himself, seeks also to achieve others. So only others, common prosperity is real prosperity. If you're only you be rich, it's not rich. It's at the cost of other people's not rich. It's injustice, it's unfair, unsustainable. So if you summarize of the traditional, with Chinese modernization contribute to the world in 3 ways. Next page. First is because China is a water factory made in China. Made in China, 2010, when China joined the WTO for 9 years, China passed the United States as the #1 manufacturer power. Today, always Chinese manufacturing output contribute 1/3, even more. There's a UN prediction by 2030 that 5 years later, China's manufacturing output will be 45% of the whole world. So today, China's manufacturing output is G7 combined together. Chinese engineering is 10 times of the United States. So 12 million of the university students graduate every year. That means 4 million new engineers join China. So that's reason Huawei and the electronic innovations from China. Not just China is a very big market, but also innovation laboratory. Second, China also offer with China's approach. For instance, we launched the AIIB, and Mexico is also a founding member. And also now in Shanghai, we have the new development bank. The president is a former president of Brazil. And also China initiative, the Belt and Road Initiative, and three initiatives: Global Development Initiative, Global Security, Global Civilization. And this September 1st, in the SCO summit in Tianjin, President Xi Jinping will put forward a Global Governance Initiative. Okay, so we share the wisdoms and approaches to help to find the common prosperity, common modernizations. This is our mission. Why we do that? Next page, please. Because like the COVID indicate, only the whole world be safe, China be safe. Only all modernizations can achieve. China's modernization will be sustainable and the real one. So we changed the Western paradigm. The Western paradigm is like US saying, either my way or highway, right? So do as I say, not do as I do. China said we can jointly to do. We can share future. So that's basically is different. Totally changed the modern, we say, colonized world or co-preference world class system. It's like many Latin scholars hope. Next page, please. So we any initiative or platform launched by China, we think about independent. We don't want others just live in the shadow of China. It's a burden. So China do not seek the replace the U.S. hegemony. Otherwise, it's very dangerous for China, also for the world. Because today it's digitalized, it's blockchain technology, it's more horizontal, mutual connectivity, not traditional vertical technology. So that's the reason I think the BRI and all the Chinese philosophy would say match the traditional Chinese culture at the same time today's technology. Next page, please. So we say of the new paradigm of the civilization, and the famous of the Fei Xiaotong socialist of China, his famous saying, appreciate of the culture and the values of others as to do to one's own, and the world will become a great harmonious. Appreciate others as your, as not tolerance. Tolerance someday you cannot tolerate as President Trump now. So appreciation. And so I think that's basically. So in the 3 steps, basically, next page. Firstly, should be independent. Your destiny should be in your own hands. Like Mexico, your tax is not in the hands of the President Trump, definitely, right? It's your sovereignty. At the same time, we build more mutually connectivity. So that's the reason, even recently, Colombia and many Latin Americans joined the BRI. They build more mutually connected, not just connected with Europe, with the United States, but also with the Pacific, across the Pacific, with Asia, with China. And then we can have a more shared future. For instance, Chinese economy hugely intervened with Chile and many other Latin Americans. Now, in the future, maybe more and more with Mexico and other Brazil as well. So that's basically how to achieve this. We, President Xi, 13 years ago, launched the Belt and Road Initiative. We learned from the Asian Silk Road spirit. Next page, please. In Kazakhstan, which is the largest landlocked country in the world, President Xi Jinping put forward the Silk Road economic belt because 90% of the trade through the sea and the landlocked countries poor. And then we built now the China-Pakistan economic corridor, then extend to Central Asians. So put Central Asian countries, landlocked countries, access to the Indian Ocean, and also Chinese landlocked areas like Xinjiang can access to the ocean, and then join the division of labors of the globalization, majority shipping rules. So that's basically Belt and Road in Indonesia, which is largest Muslim country in the world, 17,000 islands. The day before yesterday, I joined the embassy of Indonesia in Beijing to celebrate 80 years of independence from Netherlands. So now we have the Jakarta Bandung Rail Express in Indonesia. So what's the Belt Road Initiative basically about? Next, please. Firstly, it's about infrastructure building. In China, we say, if you want to get rich, build the road. If you want to get rich quickly, build the motor road. If you want to get rich immediately, build the internet road. If you want to get rich jointly, connect all the roads through the air, land, sea, and the Caspian oil, and the internet, and even satellite. So mutually connected each other can reach the systematic effect. So that's Belt and Road Initiative. But to build the infrastructure, you need lots of money. So we launched the AIIB Silk Road Fund, and from the build operation transfer to private-public partnerships, and also EPC, engineering, procurement, construction, and plus finance and investment, all kinds of the measures to gather the money. And then we need the synergies of the strategies to jointly to design our joint projects, like in Shanghai, in Peru, the port connect with Shanghai, and then make Peru's most frontiers to connect with China, which used to be Chile. Okay, so infrastructure first, and then trade and finance, and then people-to-people connections. Because building infrastructure like high-speed railway, you take decades of years. And then we need to learn from each other. We need to work together. We need to understand each other. Okay, joint ventures. For instance, in Bangkok, Jakarta Railway, 80 years joint venture. So China's relationship with Indonesia is very strategic now. Okay, next page, please. So it's an infrastructure take the leading role. Next, you should, because we need to hurry up that infrastructure building. China is very advantaged in all kinds of infrastructure, in traditional one and a new one, like UHV, and also digital and green. Everything fantastic in China, because China has the most complete categories of industries in the world. So not China is a world factory, but everything when you build with China is the most efficient, and the costs very lowest. So even President Biden put forward the BB3W, Building Back a Better World, or Blue Point Strategy Initiative in Latin America, or the European Union also launched the Global Gateway Strategy in Central and India, or the Central Economic Corridors connect with Europe, Middle East, and South Asia. But they're all for political thinking, for geopolitics, divide and rule. And then the domestically cannot build infrastructure. How can they rely on them to build infrastructure for you? Not just for that, not just build infrastructure, as I mentioned. In China, building infrastructure is to build the economic corridors. Otherwise, it's debt trap, so-called. When you build the infrastructure, connect each other, maybe it's the debt. But as I mentioned to you, the two cities connected with the high-speed railway, and then the rail estate, the tourist, all other industries will be boomed along this high-speed railway. So this is economic corridor. And then you can make a long-term money, and then pay back of the costs. It's no debt trap. There's debt, but not trap. So that's the secret. It's not just about the infrastructure itself. It's about the synergies of the strategies, synergies of the industries. It's about economic belt. It's about corridor. It's about the regional development. Okay, so that's basically many Western medias just summarize something and then condemn others. Okay, China, as I mentioned to you, very efficient in Chinese modernization in the past decades. So our experience is very fresher and very fruitful to share with other Belt Rail countries. Next page, please. This is in synergies of the industries. And then transportation network, economic belt. Okay, please, next page. So this is basically the BRI original meaning. But on the basis of that, because of the people living together and the financial cooperation and also cultural exchange, and then now the area studies is popular in China now. More and more Chinese learn Espanol because of the huge potential to invest in Latin America. For instance, in China with Meituan, Xiaohongshu, all these now in Brazil, they're very attractive. So, okay, next, hurry up, please. On the basis of the Chinese integrated market, extend to our Chinese neighbors, to the Eurasia, now extend to Latin America, to South Pacific, to Africa. In today's world, China built the diplomatic ties with 185 countries, and then 157 jointly built the BRI. Only exception, United States, Canada, India, or other relative, they are satellite state of them. So nearly all of them, majority of the Chinese diplomatic countries joined the BRI. Even because of the Belt Road Initiative, Panama take a leading role, built diplomatic ties with the mainland of China, leave Taiwan, first join BRI. But recently, because of the pressure from the United States, like Pompeo, Panama Canal, blah, 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 and then enforced Panama to so-called quit, but not continue, like Italy. Actually, they joined, benefit a lot. I visited twice the Panama Canal. China is not built the cultivate of the canal, but also economic zone and also trade and connect not just the Pacific and Atlantic, but also Latin America, Central America, and also financial cooperation. Lots of them. Okay, so hurry up, please, Professor, to show this very quickly. The 6 economic corridors, and also actually in my book has a Spanish edition, so maybe you can look in details about what we don't go to the details now because we don't have enough time. And also my book on the Community of the Shared Future have the of the English version, not yet Spanish, but Arabic, others, 20 languages actually, including some Urdu, Hindi, and some local languages as well. So 6 major economic corridors to China, Mongolia, Russia, China, Pakistan, China, Central and Eastern and European Asians, and the China Europe Rail Express, China with ASEAN, there's also platform, and also software infrastructure like the RCEP is a regional FTA region with ASEAN countries. At the very beginning, is 55 countries at the very beginning, but now 157 countries signed the MOU with China to jointly build the Belt and Road Initiative. Actually, Mexico is maybe the first country China built the subway, I think, many years ago. It's a railway, 50 years ago, I forget, but not succeed. And then, unfortunately, so far, Mexico not joined the BRI because, of course, you are very close FTA relations with the United States. We're understandable, but many industrial cooperation, right? De facto, even Brazil not signed, but Brazil also built jointly with the Committee of Shared Future. Many countries not signed, but de facto, actually, BRI countries. Okay, but when you sign this MOU, and then you can jointly to design the standard and the rules for the future cooperation. So still access to this. For instance, if you not join AIIB, how can you design? How can you influence the principles and the rules? Okay, the Committee of the Shared Future, the BRI, and contribute to the Committee of the Shared Future in a material world. of mutual connectivity, infrastructure, and also we say, most importantly, of the bridge the gaps between the technology, between the intellectual, and also between development gaps and the governance gaps, and also bridge to solve the problem of the deficits in the peace, development, and the trustees and the governance. Okay, so this just a hurry up to show, and then we can, because we only have 10 minutes left. Where are you going? What's the BRI, the future, and how the BRI contribute to the global community of the shared future? So we come to that page. Please just show to them and so some principles, and because it's I think this is basic knowledge. I hope and I think you understand this already. So do not focus on so much. 5 pillars. This is 5 pillars. Okay, next. So what's the future of the BRI? We said from 1.0 to 2.0, also some people say 3.0. Okay, first is in Eurasia, Asian Silk Road. Now extend to Africa, Latin America, South Pacific, even to the North Pole. It's not just the geographically enlargement, and most importantly, it's the meaning. At the beginning, BRI is more focused on the market, infrastructure building, energy cooperation, linkage. But now it's more focused on more the soft infrastructure building. For instance, I said jointly to build the soft infrastructure, like we say we needed the hedging, the SWIFT system, financial, because the U.S. launched the sanctions occasionally. So we need to, under this framework, to bilateral, regional, and multilaterally to contribute of the rules and the standards. And also, I think that's because the United Nations not work so well. Many people like U.S. vetoed it again and again in Gaza and many areas. Even Ukraine, they cannot contribute so much. So we need to reach the peace through regional consultation, infrastructure building, mutual connectivity, and the people-to-people's heart, and then to reach the sustainable peace. Okay, so that's basically when the different regions connect each other, we help each other, understand each other. I think this is substantially to contribute to the peace. For instance, sometimes two neighborhoods fighting each other, like Afghanistan, the so-called the tomb of the imperialists. But Afghanistan, of course, joined the BRI, and it be the hub, connect with Central Asia, Western Asia, even South Asia. When you be the hub, and then more and more infrastructure were built, and more energy platforms, and also hubs of the finance, education, people, tourists, everything. So may contribute to the Afghanistan to be build more linkage with the regions as a model. That's the reason in the UN resolution on Afghanistan, firstly to endorse the Belt Road Initiative. Later in Africa. Okay, so next page, please. From both maritime and then continental, from the air Silk Road to digital Silk Road, and also green Silk Road now. So the lots of projects, thousands of them actually built already to contribute to the regional and the global community of the shared future. So that's basically on the basis of the Chinese modernization, help other countries also lift the poverty, to seek the common prosperity, and then common modernizations for the whole world. And then the world will be more justice and sustainable, and also will be common prosperity. Okay, so the world is not flat, actually. The world is not flat for Americans' investment of the capital. the world is more mutually connected to each other, more justice. Please, next page, please. Many infrastructure, economic corridors, industrial parks, science and technology joint ventures in the world, so the whole of the world. For instance, their slogan in Africa is "Made in Africa with China for the world." It's not a traditional made in China sells the products to the world. So many regional hubs like Astopia, there's the air company to be the regional hub. Before we reach the Africans to African countries, Franco countries, their neighbor, they don't have a direct flight. They need to change the flight from Paris. But now they can change the flight from Astopia as a regional hub of transportation. So that's change that kind of destiny. So sometimes like France against that because they bypass the influence. But it's contribute to the local. It's more mutually connected, more efficient, and low cost. Next page, please. So not just benefit China to find a new market, but also fundamentally benefit the local and the regional, because they are like the railway, like Nairobi, Mombasa, help 5 and 6 Eastern African countries access to the ocean, because one rail belt finished constructed for 3,000 days before and after I visit. Now extend to others. The logistic changed. This is the map of the night of the world. Only partially coastal area of Japan, United States, Europe brightness. Others live in darkness. So today, still more than 600 million people without electricity. More than 26 million. More than 2.6 billion people without access to internet. So this is unfair. So how to build the electricity internet first? Enjoy their modern life. So that's basically the BRI is basically top priority to focus on that. So next page, when the projects in the BRI now next, they all turn the light, not living in darkness anymore, access to the internet, even directly to 5G. Not as I mentioned to you, the Western capitals of 1G, 2G, 3G. We, like Huawei, put the 5G technologies in Africa immediately without, 1G, 3G or something. So that's different logic of the West. Next, please. So this tested in China's opening reform is a very successful story of relieving poverty by building infrastructure first, and then by building infrastructure to contribute to the synergies of the industries and the economic belt. And then short-term, long-term, solve this problem. It's like the Western's foreign aid. They gave the chicken to you if you eat the chicken with the soup, and then debt. Chinese approach is to give the chicken to you, let the chicken have the eggs have more chickens, and then pay back in the future. So that's China's story on the base of the infrastructure, that's the chicken, and then eggs for economic output, and then solve the problem of the debt. Okay, this is very crucial. So long-term thinking and the sustainable development. Now the digital and the green infrastructure. Now China stopped to finance of the traditional coal plant. We produced, help to build more electronic vehicles and low carbon energy, sustainable energy. So now China is very advanced in all kind of solar panel, in nuclear plant, nuclear electricity, everything. China is most efficient. Okay, next page. Actually, building the infrastructure can benefit as a McKinsey and also UN. It's not the depth. It's a long-term benefit for the national economy development. This is about a real economy. in the whole world after the global financial crisis, actually, the hot money is trillions of them, but the infrastructure gap also trillions of them. So we have enough money, but the money not go to the real economy like infrastructure, but go to the stock exchange of New York to make a bubble, and then now have the stable coin of the US have the so many leverage of the revolution, and then will produce more risk and even financial crisis in the future. Okay, and the debts is so huge in the US, 37 trillion US dollars, right? Debts. So this is we say China as under the strong Communist Party leadership is to fail the real economy, to invest for the whole people, not just rich, get rich, the poor, poor. That's basically. Next, please. So those countries suffered a lot of the poor infrastructure. And number one is electricity, then land, motor road, all this, and the port, airport, and digital, ICT. When you make up of this critical infrastructure, the economically, mutually, with a connectivity booming,
Dr. Wang, we lost you. Hello, un momento. Dr. Wang. Un momento.
we don't have time, Professor. So hurry up to show this video and we can summarize.
Okay.
So after the COVID, the BRI's more turn to small projects, to small yet smart, we say, and also soft infrastructure building, and the new technology, new energy, and green finance, all of this, and the digital 5G, all of this. So that basically built the more to the world submarine cape. For instance, used to Chile want to build the first 5G maritime submaritime cape connect with Chile, with Shanghai, Shenzhen, but because of blocked by the United States, so far not succeed. And then Shanghai or the Peru will be continue to in doing so. Okay, next, please. So many digital cooperation innovations, AI cooperation, and also innovations jointly in the green, digital, and health Silk Road boomed. So that's basically as a transformation to focus on the SDG. As I mentioned to you, so far 157 countries signed an MOU with China to jointly build the Belt and Road Initiative. So hurry up to show you some photos, please, Professor. And this is a photo to show you about in
La siguiente.
Uganda. Rwanda. This is a Rwanda photo. They have a so-called genocide several years ago, but because of some we say small yet smart projects, 菌草 is like a mushroom projects. Now imported from China, and then feed up themselves, and then make peace, different ethnic groups, and then this photo to show the appreciation of that. Please, Professor, hurry up to show, and then we'll finish.
La siguiente, por favor, Marco.
And then 3 years ago, President Xi Jinping in the third BRI summit put forward 8 major projects, including China and the Central Asians mutual connectivity, building the straight connections with Europe, and then make the landlocked areas like in Africa, Central Asian countries to access to the ocean. So for more, you can actually read the white papers. So besides of the Belt Road Initiative, President Xi also launched the Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, Global Civilization Initiative, and very soon to put forward Global Governance Initiative to jointly to build the community of the shared future for the whole world. So that's basically my presentation today. So on the base of the Chinese modernization, we share some of our Chinese experience with the whole world to seek the common modernizations. I think in summarize, I use some keywords. Number one is the national-wide system. We need a centralized power to serve for the whole nation. And under strong leadership, in China with the Communist Party, but in other countries you have your own party of your President, like Premier Moody, learn from Communist Party of China in the Hinduism. I think Latin Americans you have your own party or religions. Second is physical transfer payments. Like Xizang, 90% of their physical is transferred from the central government. But in Shanghai, 70% of their physical transfer to the central government. This is very important. And the land finance. In China, land owned by the government. And then if you pull provinces, including my hometown, at the very beginning, the land has a special leasing right of the land to the transnational enterprise, and then got a lot of money, and then to invest in an infrastructure, and then get rich. So you need a strong government, and the land owned by the government, not by private. And the parallel development, as I mentioned, as a digital industrialization and industrial digitalization. This is very crucial. In China, because the whole China is united for 3,000 years, and today under the strong leadership of the Communist Party, so we can match the West, which is to help the East produce data and send the data to calculate in the West, in a high mountain, because actually data need lots of electricity, but in a high mountain, you have natural cooling system. So the Western electricity is like a street gauge. Electricity is thousands of miles sent to Shanghai, and then Shanghai sent back to the data to calculate in the West. So this is mutual help. And then we do this 5-year plan. I recently, also this year, I was appointed by the Beijing and the Tianjin Municipal City as an advisor board of the 15th 5-year plan. So in China, every 5 years we have a plan. So now we are at the end of the 14th 5-year plan and drafted the 15th 5-year plan. And then BRI, I think also we need continually to do this. Not like the United States, every new turn government 4 years against the previous government, and zigzag. We continue to do that, and then make this achieved gradually. And then this is my presentation. So on the basis of the Chinese modernization, adapt to our traditional Chinese culture, not westernized, with our China's stories of learning from the West, but not copy the West. To have we say Chinese characteristics. But this is not just adapt to the Chinese own, but also shared by other countries. So that's the reason we have the BRI, and it's so attractive. And then to seek the common prosperity, common modernizations for the whole world. And then to jointly build the community of the shared future. So this basically of my presentation. And Professor Razef, you can show this PPT to the audience, and then send this PPT to all them. You can read it later in the details. But now I would like to take this opportunity to have dialogue with you and learn from you. And welcome the criticisms and also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wang. We do very much appreciate your interest.
I cannot hear you, Professor.
You cannot hear me?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay. So I cannot see you. Maybe you can turn on your video.
Okay. Okay.
Fine. That's very good. Thank you. We have hundreds of questions. So we will make 2 rounds of questions so that you have time to take some of the questions you wish to answer. The first question, Dr. Wang, is we have almost 900 persons watching, and several of the persons are asking if we can have access to some of your publications, mainly in English, maybe in Spanish or in Chinese. A good group of colleagues speak Chinese. Can you help us, or can you send us later a web?
Okay, I send you email, and also if you add my WeChat, it's easy going.
Well,
some of my stories and articles published in Espanol.
Okay.
English, many, but of course, most of them in Chinese.
Madame Yiwei, she has my WeChat, so if you can send me some of them, I would be very thankful. Okay? Ups. A ver si alguien me dice si soy yo o es el doctor Wang.
El doctor se trabó.
Él se trabó. Bueno, a ver, esperemos un momento. Un momento.
Okay, I now turn my cell phone. It's okay now.
Thank you very much. Okay, so if you can send me some of your publications, we will upload them in the webpage of our network.
Okay, no problem.
Two or three questions. The first question would be, what are you there? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we have a little bit of echo because you have 2 systems working. So the first question is, in the West, the main source or the original source of accumulation of capital is exploitation. What is the main source of accumulation of capital? Is there another source, or it's the same?
They definitely have similarities as the capital, as a market, whatever. It's go beyond the border, right? But how to manage this? I think even we have you are Catholic, right? In China, we also have our Catholic. Thank God. But we said adapt the Chinese traditions. China will have 20 Muslims, for instance. But these Muslims different with the same, of course, Muslims with the Middle East. But they have their own characteristics. So this is China said. Firstly, we prefer national sovereignty, identity, as a Chinese citizen. And then you have your own belief, you have your own religion, you have your own, as you mentioned, capital or religion. So that's China's at the very beginning, I mentioned about the country, nation, and state. Remember, Trinity. But the Western narrative say, "Oh, this is boundaries. Market is globalized." I think this is miss. It's a miss. So we reach our we achieve our modernization basically on our own sovereignty, on your government, rely on your government, not just rely on others. I think it's a miss actually. President Trump remind you again and again, it's not globalization, it's more and more national. It's more national, right?
Okay. Another question. In your presentation, Dr. Wang, you stressed, highlight the importance of the Chinese culture and the strong Chinese culture to counter the West. What do you do in countries in the global South where where the cultural characteristics are not that developed, not as strong as in China. Several questions deal with this issue. No?
Okay, as I mentioned at the very beginning, my title is Xi Jinping Thought, Xi Jinping, and also Yang Monnet Chair Professor, right? So we have the synergy, not against. Or are we critical to the Western approach, Western modernization during my presentation? But at the same time, we learn a lot from the Western modernization. We're very appreciative of that. But we are not a copy then. So we are more critical and then go beyond. And before, you should learn. You should understand. You should embrace. So not against. It's not a zero-sum game. So, but when you think about the global south, China definitely is global south. As I mentioned to you, market should play decisive role. That's what we learned from the West. But because global south, they are poor. Their market not works. You need to build the swimming pool to training the babies how to swim in the swimming pool, right? Market. If you consider the market as the sea, if you put the baby to swimming in the sea, they will die. We are not against the sea. We built the swimming pool preconditions. Let the market works. So that's China, strong government, Communist Party leadership. So we are not against the Western principles of the market principle, but we build the precondition, let it works. So BRI and the Chinese modernization actually test the Western modernization. But this is more accepted, adapt to the global south. When you put the Western model, because it's very higher, to adapt immediately to the global south, it will fail, as I mentioned. So China is a transfer from the highest standard to adapt and then to transfer to the low standard of the global south. So reach the common prosperity, as I mentioned, the global. Now the West also learn from China, like industrial policy, substitutes, and then national-wide system. Biden, Trump learned a lot. And the European Union also learned a lot from China. So mutual learning. China also learned from Mexico, from Latin Americans, but maybe you can also learn from China. Like in China, we have hukou system. So we have a magic city, but not like you, like so many people. Not you don't have hukou, right? So that's really citizen. Urbanization. You have your successful story, but also you have some, maybe not so successful.
Challenges.
So this is different civilizations with mutual learning. Even in the global south, they're very diverse.
Okay. Another group of questions, Dr. Wang, relate to the discussion of a single modernization process, or is China today able to have to accept several modernization processes in the global south, considering differences among different countries? Would China tolerate dozens of different modernization processes, or is there one single?
I think the world is so diverse, different culture, different continent. We need to have your own approach. But at the same time, we share some common understandings of modernization because we are members of the United Nations, right? World Bank and all this. They have in China, we have 34 provinces, five autonomous regions, as I said, Tibet, right? Firstly, you have a national-wide law standard, 5-year plan, everything on the Communist Party leadership. But at the same time, you have your own provincial conditions. So unity in diversity. As I mentioned to you, Chinese national flag under Communist Party leadership is a strong 5-star. There are 4 stars around, right, under the leadership. This is not against each other. This is under Communist Party's leadership. But you have your diversity. So that kind of story, China's philosophy understanding of that, unity in diversity.
Okay. Two more questions. We don't want to waste too much of your time. Could we understand, Dr. Wang, the Belt and Road Initiative is the basis understanding of foreign policy of China for the global South, or what is the relationship of Belt and Road Initiative and foreign policy for the global South?
Okay, global South is a Western concept, but we accept it's like BRICS, right? It's not popular in China, in the world. With so-called global South, I think is people-oriented. 85% of the people live in the global South, only 15 in the global North. But the global North has more powerful than 80%, right? So it is it's unfair, it's divided. So we say under the Communist Party's strong leadership, focus on the people's first, people-oriented. So we invest a lot in the global South, BRI. BRI countries, majority also global South, because this is the future, as I mentioned to you. In China, 1.4 billion people, but aging society now. So average working age is 38 years old. India, 28 years old. Africa, 18 years old. So 10 years gap. 1.4 billion people, 1.1 billion Indians, and 1.4 billion Africans. So that's the reason we have the transfer of the generations of the technologies, industries to share with them. Otherwise, China getting older and older, we don't have enough market. So China need BRI, and then they also need BRI. So that's kind of that relationship.
Okay. Last question. Belt and Road Initiative, foreign policy, but also regional initiatives in parallel global initiatives such as the BRICS, with Brazil, China, South Africa. From a Latin American perspective, where shall we focus if we want to improve the relationship with China? Shall we focus on the Belt and Road Initiative, on BRICS, on the Asian Investment and Infrastructure Bank, or which is the ideal institution from a Latin American to engage with China?
Okay. I'm the Yamane Chair Professor of the European Union. So European Union prefers multi-layer governance. Okay, it's like a BRI. Also, we learn from that. Firstly, like the companies, enterprises, so their own enterprises, particularly invest in the BRI countries. First, it's a Chinese company. You need to follow Chinese standard law, right? Second, because you should focus the host country law, because you invest in those countries, right? But those countries usually have different laws, like militaries in the Indian Ocean, they're colonized by French and the UK, so there are two legal systems. But at the same time, they're also member of the African Union. They have African Union standard. Of course, the militaries is the United Nations member. They have the international law or UN standard. So the investment to match Chinese law, local law, African Union law, French law, UK law, UN law, different standards to match that. So it takes time to have the synergies of that. For your questions about BRICS, BRICS, different continents. We are, of course, global South and the emerging market. But at the same time, you also, NAFTA 2.0 is North American with a strong linkage with the US. And also you have Latin American culture, right? Culturally, you are more linked with Brazil, right? Linguistic and culturally. Okay, so this is very diverse. We need substitutes, not against each other. As a UN, as the new development bank and the BRICS, and also to Chinese culture, as at the very beginning to mention about to use, seek the harmonies by put aside the differences. We should respect the differences, but at the same time to find the common ground. And then, as my photo said, 5 pillars. Their roof, right? It's above and above, not against. So I think that's maybe the future. So it takes time to coordinate the different rules and the standards. So it's not to build a new world against the old one. It's not, China is not revolutionary thinking anymore. So we say whether capitalism, socialism, whatever reason, share future. It's definitely different with the Leninism anymore. So under the BRI, it's more traditional Chinese culture, and not just a traditional Chinese culture. When I visit India, when I visit Africa, they also have a similar culture. It's like in South Africa, there's Ubuntu. How about the Nelson Mandela's motto? Ubuntu says, I am because we are. I am because we are. Okay? So it's more prefers collectivism. It's not just individualism. And then in India, they also, the whole world is one family. Similar saying like a traditional Chinese. I don't speak Spanish, so maybe I can learn more from Latin Americans' cultures. So maybe they have also similar saying, and as a traditional culture, it's like all the babies call mom, Same. So may they speak different languages, but we have similar and values. So try to this in China say smart people find the common ground. Stupid people seek the differences. So we need to coordinate of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dr. Wang, we are extremely thankful for your time. We do not want to abuse your time. I hope it is possible. We are in touch with Madame Xi Yiwei, and I hope you can send us some of your publications, and we will be in touch. We are very happy with the cooperation between Renmin Nam. We will continue working together. Okay?
And I hope you can we can receive you, host you, you visit to Renmin University, Beijing, China, and all your colleagues. And also, I hope can visit Mexico to talk in person and then to learn more from you. As an Asian civilization, I'm always eager to travel. Next time.
You
Thank
would
you.
be very welcome. I can assure you.
Mucho gracias.
谢谢. No, thank you. Have a good morning. Thank you very much. Bye
Thank
then.
you. Bye bye. Best wishes. Yeah.
Goodbye.
That's all.
Okay.
OK，关了。这晚上。